Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session today. One more time this week, we are together with Ensar, our CISO at Socrator. This week, we had a couple of different sessions. We had a training about dark web monitoring earlier this week. Yesterday, we had another webinar talking about different topics, and now today we have ransomware negotiation. We are taking things to the next level. So yesterday we wanted to talk about one thing, and now we're talking about the next level of cybersecurity. We wanted to talk about like VIP protection yesterday. Now on this next level, next stage in the cyber kill chain, and we'll also talk about ransomware, what it means for us, and also Ensa is going to share valuable information that we have about ransomware and how do we negotiate with cyber threat actors and what we need to know about it today. Okay, so first of all, we prepared a very fun game with 5 questions. So please take out your phones and scan the QR code, or go to menti.com and use the code that you see upstairs that starts with 5, and you'll be able to join the game. We'll have a couple of questions, and we'll share the answers after giving you some time, and then we'll comment on the results that we see while we collect new people to join our game. I'd like to share the basic information about Soccer webinar. Some of you may be new here, some of you already seen us multiple times. So what we'll do is that we first start with the game, then we'll move on to a short presentation about ransomware negotiations. We'll have at the end of the webinar a quick Q&A session for our visitors today. So if you have any questions to us about the topic or about soccer at all, feel free to use the question section of Bright Talk, and we'll be more than happy to answer them at the end.
Look,
Okay.
Brock, they love it. Too many likes.
Too many likes, yes. That's good. That's good. That's good to hear. So
No,
yeah,
it is just
we'll
me.
start.
It's
Yeah,
just me.
it's just you. Okay, that's cheating, you know.
It is
So
hacking.
we're not doing any giveaways, so you can join too. All right, we'll start in a minute, but before we do that, we can please, if you have any questions in the meantime, you can type it in the section, and we'll see them for throughout the webinar. We'll do that. I'll just give 1 more minute for everyone else to join the game. It will just take about 5 minutes with the questions, and it will be your chance to test some of your ransomware knowledge if you're up for it. So please join, and let's see the answers and questions in a minute. And sir, how is you're at Virginia right now? Yeah, you're based there. How's the weather over there? How's the time going? And as we approach Christmas, is it currently snowing over there?
Yeah, so Christmas in the corner and Virginia is very beautiful today. It was
Yeah.
too rainy yesterday, like too much fog and rain. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple of troubles while I'm traveling,
Yep.
but today is beautiful, sunny. It is not that cold, not that hot. Nice
Mm-hmm.
weather,
Nice. That's
and
nice to
it is
hear.
interesting. People spend too much money on decorations for Christmas,
Yeah.
Halloween.
It's the same in here.
And
Like I'm based in Poland, and it's quite a thing here too. And I joined the gang as well, so I also do buy the tree and the decorations, and it's also snowing at this time of the year, so it's all happening. We just have to start watching movies like Home Alone or stuff like that, and we'll just get the vibes. All
so,
right.
question: what do you ask from Santa as a gift for this year?
Yeah, you're asking me, what do I want?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well, what do I want? So I just actually I want, like, people usually want things, right? Like the belongings, like more money, more success. I just want peace, peace of mind,
Peace.
peace of mind, and because there's a lot of things that we do at soccer or in our personal lives, just some peace of mind and just enjoy the time that we have for next year and have more success together in the company and also as a person. So that's what I have on my list. What about you, Ansar?
But the problem is Santa cannot deliver you peace. So you need to ask
Yeah.
something.
Okay. Okay, I
Okay.
can use the new PlayStation 5 Pro. Yeah, that will be if it's a thing. Yeah, I'll get that.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay,
thing.
what about you?
Flipper Zero. Do you know Flipper Zero? It's a hacking device.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
I
can
heard
even
about
hack
it.
cars and the keys, FOBs,
Yeah,
everything.
that's interesting choice, definitely.
Interesting request, right?
Interesting, yeah. But from a CISO like yourself, it's I understand that. I'm a marketing person, so I didn't think of a device like that. So interesting. Okay, thank you for sharing that. All right, we have a couple people in the game. Let's start. If you want to join still, you can do so with the website link or with the QR code. If you want to use or desktop, you can go at dementi.com and use the code. And let's start the game right now. Okay, let's see what we have here. The first question. So before we, while I, you can read the question. I'm just gonna explain that you have about 20 seconds to answer the question after I read them. So this is like a practice. Let's see how it goes. So what is the average percentage of ransomware victims who successfully recover their data after paying the ransom? We have 90%, 50%, 20%, and 70%. I'll show responses in a second. Just
By the
giving
way,
you
I'm the
time.
one who marked the 90%.
It is an interesting question. Let's see what people think. Okay, let's show the responses real quick. So these are the responses, but it doesn't mean any of them is true. I didn't reveal the correct one yet. So let's. So we have like okay. I see that people still change the responses. And Ensar, you already gave the hint that you chose 90%. So is that the right answer? Wrong? Are you tricking us? I don't know. But anyway, so okay, we have 90%, 50. We got 5 people voting 90%. We got 2 people for 50%. Then we got 3 on 20. Okay, that's the right answer. Yes, it is. It is 20%.
Brock, you all mean well enough, so I'm always tricky, you know.
Yes, that was a
Did,
tricky point. Yeah, I
did
think
you watch the TV
you.
series Suits?
Yes, I did.
So
Not,
you
I
know
didn't finish
Harvey?
it, but yeah, I know him. Yes, Harvey
You know
Specter. Yes,
Harvey, right? Yeah, Harvey Specter.
yes.
So he says, life is like this. I like this.
Yeah, that's that explains. So, what do you want to say about these statistics? Like a lot of people told this 90%.
Sure.
What
So
was the takeaway?
paying the ransomware does not guarantee the data recovery. Many attackers fail to provide working decryption keys or deliberately without portions of the data to demand further payments. So the statistics demonstrate the importance of prevention over reaction and the value of involving experts who can assess the trustworthiness of the attackers and explore the alternative recovery options. And this shocking statistics is a stark reminder that a paying ransomware is a gamble. So it is underscores why professional ransomware negotiators focus on gathering intelligence, validating the decryption keys, and also mitigating the future risk rather than simply paying up.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So, as you can see, that we have only 3 people that guessed the question or know the answer to that question. Let's see the let's see the next question. Okay, what percentage of ransomware attacks are estimated to be launched using stolen credentials rather than exploiting vulnerabilities? We got 10%, 30%, 60%, and 90%. And you got 20 seconds to reply. I mean, you potentially have more because there's no timer here, but I'm trying to keep up with the time. So, yeah.
So, Brock, if you remember, we asked similar questions yesterday with the
Yes.
VIP production webinar.
Yeah.
So, if anyone who already joined us yesterday, they know the answer, I guess.
Or at least they should, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see the responses first. Let me see what people. Let's see what people say. We got 60%. Sorry, let's see. We were showing with percentage. We got a lot of people voting for 10%. We got some for 90%. 30% is a thing too. Nobody voted for 60 yet. Okay, we got a draw here right now. It's between 10% and 90. Okay, I think one of them is the right answer. I'm not so sure. But yeah, we'll see about that. Any other roles? Any? Oh, okay, we got another response for 60. Okay, okay. We got a draw and also okay. Let's see the right answer, huh? Let's see. Yes, the right answer is 90%. Yeah, now you guys are changing it. It does not. It's not. It's not. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so we a lot of like most of the people here are people who didn't know the answer right. What do you got to say about that answer? What's the key takeaway from this one?
Yeah, sure. So the attackers often use stolen credentials acquired through the phishing or stealer logs. We already mentioned about how stealer logs are very critical and very important for threat actors. So they can bypass with this information perimeter defenses. So this shifts the narrative from technical exploit to human error, emphasizing the need strong password policies, a multi-factor authentication, and employee training. And this statistics highlights the crucial role of the basic cybersecurity hygiene. So, as negotiators, we frequently see organizations paying ransoms for incidents that could have been prevented with the stronger credential management. Prevention is often the most effective negotiation. Don't forget that. So, if you remember, uh, uh, in some webinars, we shared the $1 million advice. Like the hackers hacked one of the organization and they get the decryption key. I guess they pay $4 million for that. And after they decrypted the server, the threat actors they left a note. They said if you used basic cybersecurity steps, this incident could have been prevented easily. And one of them is using two-factor authentication and backing up your files and using a good antivirus or EDR systems.
That's right. Thank you, Ansar. Let's move on to the next question because we have a couple more. Okay, what is the main goal of professional ransomware negotiation? What do you want to achieve here? To immediately pay the ransom, reduce the ransom amount, to delay the attackers and gather intelligence, to guarantee full data recovery. What do we hope to achieve? What do you guys think about it? Well, I certainly don't want to pay the ransom right away. I would say so.
Brooke, I just want to clarify with this question.
Yeah.
It doesn't ask you main goal of yours. It asks you what is the main goal of the professional ransomware
Yeah.
negotiators.
Yeah.
So think from that perspective.
Yeah.
Otherwise, of course, you are
Quick.
gonna say to gain the full access to
Yeah.
data,
Quick
right?
question here, Ansar. In many of the organizations that you see, who is generally the negotiator for the organization that is exposed? Would that
Mhm.
be would that be the CISO or someone else in the team? Definitely, like is that CEO taking the place when possible because they have like a high decision making power? What do you think?
That's a very good question. So we're gonna go over with this one. Of course, not the C
Yeah,
levels. That's for sure.
yeah,
The because that doesn't mean CISO has a technical tech round, and of course
hmm,
he know what he's doing. But if even if he doesn't have this negotiation backgrounds, then it is not for his job to do the negotiation. So negotiation is only for the professionals. And during this webinar, we are going to explain to you why this is only for professional people.
yeah. Okay, all right. So let's build the suspense on that end. Okay. So we see some answers over here. Let's see the right one, right answer. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. A lot of majority of the people select the right option, and I think this was not a hard question. Yeah. What do you say, answer?
So when we clarify, people did understand actually what
Yeah.
could be the possible correct response. So
Yeah.
professional negotiators do more than just reduce ransomware amounts. They work strategically to buy time, assess the attacker's
Mm-hmm.
credibility, and
Yeah.
provide valuable intelligence to law enforcement or internal incident response team. This approach can lead to better outcomes than the right payment. So negotiation is not about immediately cutting a check, right? So our primary objective is to outsmart attackers and extract as much as information possible and create opportunities for organizations to regain control of the situation. So this is why ransomware negotiations are a job for professionals, not for amateurs. I don't know, Brock, if you remember, since we are both from Turkey, when I was a kid, I was watching like American movies, right? And with American movies, like there are people, they take hostages in the bank
Yeah.
and they demand something. And there
Yes.
was a part in the US police for negotiation. So in
Yes.
Turkey, we don't have such a thing, right? There is you don't negotiate with the police. Yeah.
No.
So
No.
I was like, there's a police department for negotiation. That was very interesting
Yeah.
for me. So
There's actual police officers. They are expert in negotiation
yeah,
with this
we
kind of
have it
people.
in
Yeah.
Turkey right now as well. But when I
Yeah.
was a kid, we didn't have such a thing, negotiators
Yeah.
in police. they they get whatever they want, right? So
Yeah.
when I first heard about the ransomware negotiator, I was surprised. I can do this. It is too easy. Like anyone can do that. But after involving too many negotiations with the threat actors, then I understand it is not for everyone. Like there has to be
Hmm.
someone with the specific skills
Yeah.
and abilities to do in order to do the negotiator. And we are going to go through all of them
Yep.
today.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next question. What is the average percentage of organizations that experience a ransomware attack despite having endpoint security solutions in place? Well, this is a tough one. This is not easy to know. 5%, 15%, 35%, or 55%. It's all tricky. It all starts or ends with 5 at the end. I'll give you guys a minute. I
So the
mean, less
purpose
than a
of this
minute. Yeah.
question, some people can think endpoint protections or antiviruses can protect me from the ransomware attack. As you know, we have a terminology saying defense in depth. So just one solution cannot protect you. That's why we have different solutions. And this is the point I want to show you. If you believe you're using a good antivirus software or EDR or XDR or any other cybersecurity solution, if you think it can protect you from ransomware attacks, it cannot.
Yeah. Let's see. By the way, I'm just showing the results. None of them is revealed as the right one. So I see that some people are just changing their decision with the one that is has the highest number. This doesn't mean it's the right answer. It might mean, but yeah, it is. It's the true answer is not revealed yet. Just wanted to see the statistics first. Okay, let's reveal the right answer for our uh, guest today, and we'll have the final question later on. And yes, congratulations to who knew the question right, and the majority of the participants were right about it.
So I have a couple of things for this one as
Yeah.
well. So endpoint security solutions are vital, again, but not foolproof, right? So attackers often bypass these defenses through credential abuse or social engineering, and providing that a layered approach combining technology, awareness, and skilled incident response is essential. So EDRs provide a false sense of security for many organizations. While it's a critical defense layer, attackers often use non technical methods to circumvent. So, this is why professionals, ransomware negotiators recommend holistic security measures and robust incident response strategies with the other security solutions as well.
Exactly, exactly. So the takeaway is that endpoint security solutions alone is not the right idea or is enough to protect your organization. against such threats. Yeah, last question, I think, yeah, but not the least. Let's see. What is the primary risk of attempting to negotiate directly with ransomware attackers without professional help? Overpaying the ransom, prolonging the attack duration, violating laws and regulations, angering the attackers, and increasing demands. See what people think. Well, I think if you are not an expert in negotiation, as an art or like just ransomware, there are lots of different ways that it can play out in negotiation. Yep. Okay, let's see the responses. Yeah, a lot of people were saying about prolonging the duration. Yeah, because I think the time is of the essence in terms of negotiation. Yeah, like this is you're playing the game with the attackers, and time is valuable. There are, of course, violating laws and regulations too. That's an option. Okay, let's see the right answer.
Good. That is good.
Yes.
And that means I can make my point, right?
Yeah.
So most of the time, untrained negotiators make unknowingly pay sanctioned entities or fail to comply with the legal requirements, exposing their organization to heavy fines and reputational damage. So professionals understand these nuances and navigate negotiations with the legal framework. So if any of you attended my training on Monday, dark web intelligence, when I was talking about dark web intelligence, I mentioned there's a very thin line being unlawful or staying inside of the law. So this is valid for the negotiations as well. And there is a huge debate if it is okay to pay the ransomware operators that money, the ransom, it should be illegal or illegal. So there's a huge not negotiation, discussion between the people in this business and the people from the law perspective. So, but still, whatever you do, you have to follow the rules and regulations and the law, of course, that is for sure. So, attempting to negotiate directly with the ransomware attackers is like walking into the lion's den unarmed, right? So beyond the technical challenges, there are serious legal risks involved because the threat actors they don't care about the law, they don't care about procedure protocols, but you have to. So as professionals, we ensure compliance with the laws and reduce liability, which is why you should never try this alone. And as a closing marks for these questions, each of these questions reveals surprising truths about ransomware and negotiation. So use them to spark discussion, share real world examples with our webinar, and you have better understanding why actually you need to be expert on the subject and how you can be an expert on the subject. We have some lesson learned. We are going to share our insight and experience with you in a minute.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Ensar, and thank you everyone for joining the interactive game. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a thing or two about it. We prepared a short presentation. We don't want to bore you to that, of course, with slides, but it is necessary to make certain points. So we'll just move on to the presentation in a minute, and then at the end, as we approach the end of the session, we will do a quick question and answer session with all of you. Yeah, so let's do that. I'll just see my screen over here real quick. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think the screen is working fine. All right, let's start. So in this part, we want to talk about ransomware negotiation. Not only the attack itself, like ransomware as a threat itself, but also the how we should be negotiating with these cyber criminals, what you need to know, and the current state of the situation that we have in the market. And so I will walk us through a couple of different slides and points. I just want to point out the fact that this is going to be topic today. as well. And so let's dive right in.
All right, so hello everyone again, and welcome to this webinar on one of the most critical and challenging aspects of the modern cybersecurity, ransomware negotiation. So, my name is Sensar, as you know, and I'm excited to have you all here. First and foremost, I want to thank you for taking time to join me today. Whether you're tuning in as a cybersecurity professional or business leader or simply someone eager to learn more about these complex topics, and I assure you that today's session will be packed with the actionable insights and real world examples. But let me start by saying that ransomware negotiation is not just technical challenge, as you can understand through the questions. It is a delicate process that requires expertise, strategy, and nerve of steel. So throughout the session, I'll share my personal experiences, lesson learned, and key principles that I believe every organization needs to know. So we'll discuss also why ransomware negotiations should be only by conducted by trained professionals and how even a small misstep can lead to disastrous consequences. So my goal is to equip you with the knowledge and to understand this process better and appreciate its intricacies. And before we dive in, and I just want to clarify this is we have I guess 30 minutes for the this lesson learns, and at the end of the day we will have Q&A session. If you have questions during the presentation, feel free to drop them in the Q&A session or in the chat, and I'll do my best to address them at the end of the webinar. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's take a moment to understand the struggling financial case of ransomware. As highlighted on the slide, ransomware is not just a cyber crime, it is highly profitable multi-billion dollar industry. So in 2023 alone, the ransomware attacks hit a record of 1.1 billion in reported losses, and that's likely just the tip of the iceberg, and as many incidents go unreported. So what we are looking at here is the FBI issued wanted posters with multi-million dollar bounties for member of infamous ransomware groups like DarkSide or Revel. So these groups operate like businesses, albeit criminal ones, with structures, strategies, and revenue streams that rival legitimate organizations. This level of financial gain fuels the persistence and innovation of ransomware operators. That's why we had a couple of other webinars about ransomware, how ransomware evaluated from first generation of attacks to the fourth generation of attacks, but that's another subject. So they are constantly evolving their tactics to maximize profit because their main purpose to get paid. And I also mentioned yesterday there's a huge difference between the APT groups and the ransomware operators. For the ransomware operators, the main purpose is to get paid, and they will do everything and anything to get paid. So whether it's a true more target attacks, double extortion methods, or ransomware as a service platforms, they always keep developing new tactics and tactics in order to get paid and in order to bypass our defenses. So let's not forget these aren't lone hackers in basements. These are organized groups, often with the state level protection, making their capture even more challenging. So, for organizations, this underscores a critical point. Ransomware is not a problem you can simply outspend or ignore. It is a sophisticated threat that requires equally sophisticated preparation and response strategies. So when it comes to the negotiation, the stakes couldn't be higher. As we move forward, we discuss why handling these negotiations require expertise, and I'll share some personal stories that demonstrates just how complex and risky they can be.
Exactly. Couldn't agree with you more, Ensar. We see that in our experience, these people, they work just like any other organization. They are pretty organized. They're like a company. It's just they're running illegal activities. And, there are some groups, they are not big on their actions. They took a big risk and They work like an organization, like we said. There's a platform, there's a product, there's people that have titles, their jobs, just like in other organization, and they work like a professional team. So that's how they manage to get earn that much money. And also, as you can see, the law enforcement are on their backs asking, like, offering this much reward for valuable information leading to their capture. So yeah, this is important to note that.
Absolutely. So now let's take a closer look how ransomware groups like Evil Corporation operate. So what you see here is not just a bunch of cyber criminals working independently. This is an organized, highly professional team that mirrors the structure of a legitimate corporate entity. So, for example, if you analyze Lockbit, I always keep giving the example as a Lockbit because Lockbit was a game changer. Okay, if Lockbit was a legitimate business, I'm sure they were in the right now in the Fortune 500 companies. So they have better structure, better security, better PR than the most of the Fortune 500 companies. So from penetration testers and reverse engineers to data analyst and business analyst, every role is carefully designed and support their operations. They even have web designers, full stack developers, or UX UI designers to ensure that their ransom portals and phishing campaigns look as credible and user friendly as possible. And yes, they care about user experience too. So, but I want to draw your attention to critical teams. One of them is the business analyst, and the other one is the data analyst departments. So, individuals are the real strategies behind the operation. So, their role is to analyze victims' financial, assess their industry, and determine the maximum ransomware amount the target is likely to pay. And they factor in variables like annual revenue, insurance coverage, uh, and even the organization's public statement on the cybersecurity. It is methodical, calculated, and frankly terrifying. So this level of professionalism demonstrates why ransomware is such a formidable threat. These groups aren't just hackers, they are businesses, and their goal is to maximize profits while minimize the risk to themselves. So, for example, since they have this roles, business analyst, data analyst, right? For example, we are negotiating with Brock, and let's say Brock is working for a company, and I am the threat actor. So when I come to the negotiate Brock, Brock could say, I don't have that much money, right? And I have business analysts. So my business analyst as a threat actor telling me actually how much Brock's company makes annually. So when it's come to the negotiation, I know Brock's number better than Brock. So I know actually he can how much money he can actually pay. And also maybe Brock can use the argument like my data doesn't worth that much. So I have a data analyst. So my data analyst exactly tells me how much data is worth. So when it's come to the negotiation, when Brock using the argument my data isn't worth that much, I can actually exactly tell him how much his data worth. So as you can stand, this is the again high level of professionalism, right? This is a legitimate. This is not a legitimate business for us, but it's exactly very critical, very important business for them. So that's why it's very critical and important to understand their structure as well.
Exactly, so don't play that card. So they already know what they want or how to get it. It's not the right first play. Okay, let's go.
So, understanding how ransomware infiltrates systems is crucial for both prevention and response. As highlighted on the slide, ransomware often spreads through two primary avenues: phishing emails, and the other one is exploitation of the software vulnerabilities. So, first, let's discuss the phishing emails. So, these are the deceptive messages crafted to appear as if they are from a trusted source, perhaps a colleague or a vendor or well-known organization. And as you know, the goal is to trick the recipient into clicking a malicious link or downloading infected attachment. So despite advancements in email security, phishing remains a highly effective technique because it targets the human element. So attackers exploit our trust, curiosity, or the sometimes even fear to bypass technical safeguards. Last time I checked, like more than 80% of the attackers happens with the phishing attack. So phishing is still remains the tough attacking strategy for the threat actors. And for example, an employee might receive an email that looks like it's from the IT department urging them to update their password immediately. And in a rush, they click the link and inadvertently provide the credentials or download malware, opening the door for ransomware to enter the network. We also mentioned about yesterday, they keep changing their strategies, they develop new phishing tactics and techniques. And yesterday I wrote a blog post about like pushing push notifications. Then right now they discovered the push notifications can be used for phishing people, and they were able to actually manipulate push notifications, and lots of people around the globe were actually click the links, the malicious link they send it. And there's something huge going on nowadays with the push notifications. And I just write technical details about this campaign by the threat actors. So they keep creating new strategies. And the other thing, they focus exploiting the non-software vulnerabilities. A, a prime example of this is the WannaCry, for example, attack occurred in 2017. And WannaCry took advantage of the vulnerability in Microsoft Windows operating system, which was a vulnerability for which patch had already been released. However, many organizations had not updated their system promptly. As a result, the ransomware spread rapidly across the globe, affecting hundreds of thousands of computers in over 150 countries. So, um, I mentioned also, I guess it was yesterday or before yesterday, like most exploit vulnerability is from 2017. So threat actors, especially ransomware threat actors, they're not going to take a look to the zero-day vulnerabilities, right? Because there's an easy way. They always choose the easy way because their main purpose is to make money as fast as possible. So they don't want to develop highly sophisticated, highly advanced tools. They don't want to find like to tactical zero-day exploits, because based on the statistics, like more than 60% of the organizations or companies, they didn't even patch the 2017 Microsoft vulnerability. So that 2017 vulnerability was the most exposed vulnerability till today, like 2024. So that's why instead of finding new holes in the organizations, they already exploit the vulnerabilities. They are publicly available to anyone. So what does this mean to us? Like it highlights the importance of two-pronged defense strategy: employee awareness and training. That is very critical, very important. Regular training sessions can help employees to recognize phishing attempts and understand the protocols for reporting them. By fostering a culture of vigilance, organizations can significantly reduce the risk of successful phishing attack. And the other thing is timely software updates and patch management. That's too critical. So implementing a robust patch management process ensure that all systems are updated promptly, and this reduce the window opportunity for attackers to exploit known vulnerabilities.
Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. So now soon we're gonna jump into the lessons that we need to learn. But before we do that, let's skip on the slides. Let's see here. Yep. Let's see the lessons. What we need to learn.
Exactly. So, over the course of my career, so I have had a unique and challenging responsibility of negotiating with ransomware operators in tens of cases, and each negotiation was different, but the stakes were always high and the pressure was immense. So, these experiences taught me lessons that I believe every organization should know, and lessons that could make a significant difference during a ransomware crisis. By the way, was it in January, Brock? We have a actual training for ransomware negotiation. So instead of 1 hour webinar,
Yes.
we actually 3 hours training session. So if you're interested in this topic, especially if you're in the law enforcement agencies or any similar agencies, I highly recommend you, or if your MSSPs have lots of IT customers, or they provide IT solutions to their customers. So I highly encourage you to join our training in
Yeah.
January, in a couple of weeks. So I'll go to the details, but today I'm just going to share my experiences and lesson learned. So the first lesson is this: you'll never walk alone. So when faced with the ransomware attack, it's a critical to establish a crisis management team as your first line of defense. So this team should include representatives from the IT department, legal department, and communication departments, among others. So together they form your incident command center, ensuring that every decision and action is coordinated and aligned with the organization's overall strategy. So why this is important, you may ask? Because a ransomware attack is a more than technical issue, as we already tried to explain to you with the questions. It is a multi-phased crisis that requires expertise from various angles. So IT or security will handle the technical containment and remediation, and the legal department will guide you through the compliance and potential liabilities. And communication is also very critical and important during this process, will ensure that both internal stakeholders and the public are informed appropriately. So each role is essential, and no one should try to tackle this alone. So during negotiations, this team serve as a backbone of your response, helping you evaluate the situation, make calculated decisions, and steer the organization towards recovery. So a unified cross-functional approach is the difference between the chaos and control. So as we move forward, I'll share the additional lessons learned from the experiences and how they apply to real-world ransomware scenarios. Remember, preparation, collaboration, and professionalism are your greatest allies in time of crisis. So, our other lesson. Do you have anything to say for the first lesson, Brock, from your
Yes,
experiences?
just don't take it on yourself. Don't do it alone. It's not gonna end up well. This is an effort that requires a team activity. So yeah, like we said here, like Ansar mentioned, yeah, don't take it on yourself if
Absolutely.
possible. Okay.
So the second lesson I have learned is this: like, sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and be sure that you are safe. So what that doesn't mean. So in the context of ransomware, it means that before you even think about engaging with the threat actor or negotiation, you must ensure that your environment is secure and under control. So the first step is to engage the assistance of cybersecurity professionals, expert who can perform a true analysis of your network. Their job is identify the scope of attack, determine what has been compromised, and isolate any malicious activities. So without the initial assessment you have, you're effectively negotiating in the dark, which can lead to disastrous consequences. So take the example highlight here. For example, a company's negotiation team mistakenly underestimate the seriousness of situation, and they accepted initial ransom offer $100,000. So without verifying whether the attacker still had the access to their system, or whether they had exfiltrated additional data, this lack of due diligence caused the situation to escalate, and that resulting in even more data loss and much higher final ransom payment to $800,000. So this was a real case example for you, but I cannot, of course, not reveal the name of the company. But the story underscores a vital point. So ransomware negotiation is not solo endeavor. So it requires a collaboration effort involving technical experts who can confirm that the attackers no longer have an active foothold in your system. And it is about creating controlled environment where you can negotiate from a position of strength, not weaknesses. So this is a foundation of successful response, and it can save your organization from further damage.
Thank you, Ansar. I have nothing to add here. This is pretty straightforward. You gotta play our cards right beforehand and get the preparation ready before engaging with the cyber criminals and get the assistance that we need from this separate team members to move forward.
So the third lesson is where the real challenge begins. A ransomware negotiator is much like a high stake poker game, right? So you're holding the cards, your company's digital assets, and even like every move you make can tip the scales in one direction or another. So before diving in, it is absolutely crucial to set clear boundaries. This means like knowing your limits both in terms of finance and acceptable outcomes. Define the maximum ransom you're willing to consider and set your breaking point. So um, here's the key: never reveal your hand too early. Like if you play poker, I'm sure this terminology is much familiar to you, but showing vulnerability or desperation is one of the most common mistakes organizations make during the negotiation. So consider the example on this slide. For example, attackers often create intense psychological pressure with countdowns or threats to leak sensitive data. These tactics are designed to force hasty decisions. So, but remember, time is negotiators' best ally. The more time you buy, the more opportunity you have to reduce and the ransom amount or even recovery you data through alternative methods. So this is where professional negotiation skills come into the play. So your objective isn't just pay less, it is to ensure the safety of your data and minimize long-term impacts. And let me emphasize, this is not the time to improvise. Having experienced negotiators at the table is essential because a single misstep can escalate the situation, leading to harsher demands or even refusal to cooperate. So treat this as a strategic game, but play it smart. So the stakes are high and every decision matters. In the next lesson learned, I'm gonna also mention about the like, don't flash your executive badge. This is one of the questions in the beginning of the webinar. Uh, Brock asked me, who should do this negotiation? Right? Should it be CEO or CISO? So actually, one of the lessons I learned, it's a simple but often overlooked piece of advice: don't flash your executive badge. So when you're in the middle of the ransomware negotiation, the last thing you want to do is show off your authority or position. So many executives make this mistake of revealing their titles or trying to use their influence to gain leverage in negotiations. But let me tell you this: ransomware operator to a ransomware operator, the fact that you're an executive only signals one thing: deeper pockets. Okay. So, if anything, it may encourage them to increase their demand, thinking you can afford to pay more. So, instead, being a neutral position, that's a better strategy. And let professional negotiators who are trained to manage this situation without emotional attachment handle the communication. So remember, these are not ordinary business negotiations. This is highly volatile scenario where every word matters. And the other lesson I learned is cutting the drama, right? So sometimes organizations try to appeal to attackers' humanity by shaking dramatic stories, making excuses such as "we are a small company" or "this will ruin us financially," that kind of stuff. As you can see in the example on the slide, this excuses rarely work. Okay, they don't care if you are going to bankrupt, right? If they don't care if you're a small company, and this like sometimes even using I'm gonna get fired, that they're gonna cut this amount from my salary. They don't care. Okay, they are threat actors. They don't have like the thing they care is not your job, not your business. The only thing they care is the money. So ransomware operators are not interested in sympathy. That's for sure. Okay, they are business people, albeit on the wrong side of the law. They want results, not reasons. So in fact, showing vulnerability or making emotional appeals can backfire, making the attackers think you're desperate enough to pay more. So it is important to stay factual, professional, and composed in all communications. So stick to the process, avoid personal comments, and never let them see your sweat. Is it lesson six we have here? Yes, lesson six. So the other thing I learned during these negotiations, when ransomware operators present their demands, they don't just pull numbers out of thin air. So the pricing is calculated based on various factors: your organization's revenue, industry, public financial data, and their own assessment of how much they believe you are willing to pay. As I try to explain to you, they have very sophisticated structure, right? They have data analysts, they have business analysts, they hire these people not just for fun. So they actually do those analyses. And that's why when it comes to the negotiation, they already did their homework. And most of the time, what I see from experiences, the other side of the negotiation, the company who actually affected by the ransomware, they they don't dare do their homework, right? They don't come to negotiation with the numbers and the analysis, but the attackers do. So this is where negotiation get interesting. So ask them to break it down. Like, what, why that specific amount? What is the logic behind the price tag? As you can see in the example on the slide, attackers will often justify their demands, citing factors like your annual revenue or the value of your compromised data. Use this to your advantage, just like negotiating at the flea market. You wouldn't pay the sticker price without a little back and forward. You don't do that, right? Would you? So keep in mind that this process is part of their business model. So they expect some level of negotiation. So you should never accept their first offer. Instead, challenge their rational and push for reduction. So the more you understand their logic, the better equipped you'll be to counter it with it. So be cautious, don't reveal too much about your own internal process or limits. Instead, use their justification as a tool to bring the ransomware down while maintaining control over the conversation. So,
Exactly.
yeah, do you have anything to add, Brock, for this one?
Yeah, exactly. Like we should always try to bargain, but in a sense, not to overplay our hand, but not don't accept the first price that's put on in front of you without seeing the logic behind it. At least that's what I think.
Absolutely. So, the other lesson I want to share with you is that in the world of ransomware, you can't just throw out random counteroffers. So every offer you make must meet three critical criteria. It must be logical, acceptable, and plausible, both to you and the attacker. So, answer, what do you mean by being logical, acceptable, and plausible? So, being logical, your offer must make sense given to the circumstances, right? For instance, if the attackers demand $1 million and your organization's annual revenue is $10 million, offering $5,000 won't seem to be credible. So, a logical counteroffer is based on well reasoned argument, often referencing the scope of the breach, value of the data, and the organization's financial capabilities. And the other thing is being acceptable. Your counteroffer must be reasonable enough for the attackers to consider. So low bailing them too much can provoke anger and or even retaliation, such as increasing the ransom or prematurely leaking your data. So keep the negotiation grounded in what they might find acceptable while still protecting your organization's interests. And the other criteria I wanted to follow is plausible. So it is like your offer must appear realistic from their perspective. The attackers know how to guard your financial capabilities, and they often have insights into your organization. So an impossible offer could lead them to believe you're stealing or acting in bad faith, which can worsen the situation. So, a well crafted LAP offers more retained control of the conversation and steer the negotiation toward outcomes that minimize the damage. As you can see in this example on the slide, careful wording and rationale can make all the difference. But remember, this is where professional negotiations shine. So they understand how to frame these offers effectively using calculated tactics and that balance the urgency with rationality. So this is not the time to improvise or let the emotions dictate your decision. So ransomware operators want quick wins. Again, their main purpose, their first purpose, maybe their only purpose is to get paid. So they only care about money, right? They only focus on money. They don't care nothing else, not law, not your best situation, not your reputation, not how pity you are. They don't care about that. So for that, they thrive on a creating urgency to pressure you into the paying immediately. So, but as a negotiator, your objective should be the opposite: buy time. Okay, time is the clock is ticking for you. So, stretching out the negotiation process serves two key purposes. First, so it gives your technical teams more time to assess the situation, restoring the backup, or possibly developing alternative solutions to retrieve your data. So every extra hour could bring you closer to the resolution that doesn't involve paying the ransom. So, second, time works in your favor psychologically. So, attackers, despite their bravado, don't want to prolong negotiations. It increases their risk of exposure and creates opportunities for law enforcement to track their activities. So, by staying calm, composed, and unhurried, you can shift the power dynamic and potentially lower their demands. Remember, this tactic requires financier, right? So you can't appear to be stalling intentionally, and it is about asking for clarification, reviewing terms, or waiting for internal approvals to create natural delays. If they understand you're fooling them, the situation is going to go worse. So you need to use acceptable excuses. So the longer the dance, the better your chances to turning the situation in your favor. And then we have politeness, right? Then the tread it lightly, say big. So as you can see in this example for lesson 9, maintaining a polite and respectful tone in your communication can have a significant impact. So ransomware negotiations are inherently tense, and while the attackers may seem like your adversaries, treating them with hostility rarely produces positive outcomes. So instead, approach the conversation with the professionalism and respect. So simple gestures like acknowledging their response and using non-confidential language can help to de-escalate the situation. So politeness shows that you're serious and willing to engage constructively, which can encourage them to the reproactive by lowering their demands or granting additional time. So that said, politeness doesn't mean weakness, that's for sure, and it is a strategic choice designed to build a temporary rapport while keeping the negotiation on track. So, just like any other negotiation, it is about managing perceptions and keeping control of the situation. So, whether you're buying time or trying to lower ransom, remember that politeness can go a long way. So, it's a small effort that can yield significant results in these high stake scenarios. And be proactive, okay? Report first, gain the upper hand. In ransomware crisis, one of the biggest mistakes organization make is hesitating to report the incident to the relevant authorities. So there's often a fear of reputational damage or regulatory uncertainty. However, delaying the report can cause you valuable time and resources and even put your great risk. So here is why being proactive matters. For example, when you report an attacker to law enforcement, not only are you fulfilling the regulatory obligations, but you also gain access to resources and intelligence that could aid your response. Agencies like FBI or national crime units often have insights into the specific attackers or ransomware group you are dealing with, which can be critical in negotiations. I know I'm passing my time. I'm gonna wrap up very quickly and take a little faster. So, reporting early allows you to maintain control in the narrative. If the attackers threaten to expose your data, you can preemptively notify affected parties and regulators. So remember, in the realm of ransomware negotiation, knowledge is power, okay? And proactivity is your shield. And the other lessons, the threat is cheap, show me the data as proof. So in the heat of ransomware attack, it is easy to panic and assume the worst, that all your critical data has been stolen and encrypted. However, before reaching, you must verify the attacker's claims. Don't take their word for it, demand proof. That is very important. So, attackers often exaggerate the extent of their breach to coerce higher ransom payments. So, they may claim to have access to all your sensitive data files when in reality they maybe have a fraction or not at all sometimes. Verifying their claims gives you a clearer picture of actual damage and helps you to negotiate from informed position. So the other one is I can mention less know, more later. Lesson number 12. So during ransomware negotiations, there's often a trade-off between seeking a quick resolution and pushing for a lower ransomware amount. So, in some cases, offering a smaller amount upfront can lead to quicker closure. Attackers may prefer a guaranteed small payout now rather than the prolonging negotiations with the risk of receiving nothing. So this approach can minimize the downtime and get your systems back online faster. And the other thing I can suggest, you must treat carefully. Never reveal if your organization has cyber insurance coverage or the limits of the coverage. Disclosing this information can backfire as attackers may adjust their demands to match your policy. So keep those details confidential and ensure your internal communication on insurance is secure. And sealing the deal, so ensuring the data deletion with a video proof. So you have navigated the difficult waters of ransomware negotiation and reached an agreement. So the ransom has been paid and your data is back in your hands, but don't let your guard down yet. So there is one final step to ensure the attackers uphold their end of the deal. So always request proof of deletion. Okay, this should go beyond mere promises or screenshots. Insist on video evidence showing the deletion of process. You may ask why. Because attackers may otherwise recycle your stolen data or use it for future extortion attempts. So, video proof provides a stronger level of assurance, although, as we know, there are no absolute guarantees when dealing with the criminals, right? They cannot be trusted, never, ever. But still, you're taking the necessary steps, which could be helpful in the future steps. And remember, closing the deal doesn't mean the crisis is entirely over. Continue monitoring for signs of residual threats or work on strengthening your defense to prevent future attacks. The lessons you have learned through this ordeal will be instrumental in ensuring you are better prepared moving forward. So this
Thank you.
is all from my part. Yeah, with the lesson
Thank you.
learned.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yes, this was. I was going to ask you, can we really trust threat actors like 100% after they delete the video, like from the video proof from the data? But like you said, it's never 100% a reality. Thank you for sharing that too. Here, I'll just to wrap up. This is our dark web report. If you want to check if your organization is in any way exposed in the dark web, you can just scan the QR code and access the dark web report that we have. And yeah, we'll wrap it up for today. If you have any questions, we can stay a couple minutes longer. Please ask us questions on the Q&A section of Bright Talk. and we might stay a couple minutes more for it. If not, we'll just wish you a good day. Let's see if you have any questions. Nothing yet. In the meantime, let me do more advertising on this end too. So at SockRadar, we give back to our community. We have the free version of our platform currently being used by more than 35,000 people, and it gives you access to our platform with basic abilities. And you can check it out just with the QR code. Feel free to do so, and that's pretty much it for today. I don't see any questions. That's all right. You can still type in your questions even after the webinar in the follow-up section. We'll get them if there are any, and we can get back to you via email as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Ensar, for this beautiful presentation. It was really fun. And I'll see you in the next session next week before Christmas, and we'll wrap up the year all together. Thank you very much. Wish you a lovely day. Take care.
Yeah, thank you once
Bye
again
now.
for your time, your attention, your commitment to improving cybersecurity. Together, we can make a difference. Stay safe, stay secure, and take care of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye now.